works when they're small, but as they get older, you start to realize the truth in what Tom said with consistency and follow through, like you guys were saying, being on the same page, things like that. But I also, as everyone was talking, thought of the fact that we put so much pressure on ourselves as parents, not wanting to screw our kids up. And what's that saying we always say about it doesn't matter? Like, to some extent, it doesn't matter. Like, because you care, you're not going to do something terrible. You know, we're all doing the best we can, and if we're prayerfully seeking how the Lord wants us to deal with every situation, we're going to be okay. I mean, we don't want to do something stupid, but at the end of the day, we're all going to have some reason we're jacked up anyway, right? Don't put so much pressure on yourself that, and just staying humble about it, like Shauna said, and admitting when you recognize that you did something that was too hard or too, mean or whatever. Just being willing to have the humility to say, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been so hard about that. Shouldn't have spanked you quite that hard. So just, yeah, that's...
And give him your therapist's name. Our kids know our therapist. Yeah. He's our friend. We talk about him. Yeah. They know our friend's name.
Like he's a friend
We're going
of the
to
family.
visit. Yep, our friend. And one day you're going to have a friend, and it's okay.
Just a word of encouragement. When you display, let me just say it like this. I grew up in my dad's a pastor, grew up in a godly home, but a very strict home, and I never saw my parents sin. And what that taught me is how to hide, because I could never attain that level of perfection. When we hide our sin, it teaches kids how to hide from it. And so what we want to do is be as real as we can. I remember when I was younger asking my husband, I said, babe, do you think my kids think I'm angry? You think I'm an angry mom? He said, no, I think they think you're an honest mom, that you're real. And in that realness, yeah, I sinned a lot. I lost my temper. I got loud. I said, don't throw things as I was throwing things, or don't slam that door as I'm slamming the door. I cussed at my husband. I'm guilty of a lot. But one of the things I think I did really well, and I think I still do, is I own it. And it's like, look, I'm sorry. I tell you all the time not to say things like that, and I just spoke to you in that way. I need you to forgive me. What I did was wrong. And what happens is you raise children who feel like they're friends enough with you to where, can I just share last night? Even I'm not full of details, but even last night, we're tucking our son in, and he said, Mom, can you leave just for a second? I need to talk to Dad. And I was like, okay. And he feels friendship enough with Jake to say, like, Dad, I feel like, you don't respect da-da-da-da-da, and I feel like the way that you whatever made me feel like this. And Jake was like, son, that's not how I feel. I just need you to communicate times and da-da-da. But that he even feels he can have the friendship to say, like, can we talk this out? And I think that comes from just being vulnerable when you're younger. They're going to respect your humanness. And it gives them permission that, what if it's not failure? What if you're learning? So there's a lot of grace.
I had something else to say about boys in particular. I know I've made lots of mistakes in the discipline area, but with our son, I feel like I've done some things right with our son along the way because we're different. Boys are different, and it's different at different stages. But every boy wants to be a man, and so what I've learned as our son has gotten older is, as I speak truth into who he is as a son of God and a growing young man, I afford myself the opportunities to say it's time to man up whenever he's acting out or whenever he's not doing what he knows he's supposed to do, or so on and so forth. So I think it's important to remember those differences between boys and girls.
And let your husband discipline the boys.
I have 3. Let's pause real quick. Table leaders, do we have any questions turned in? Do I need to come grab any more? No? All right, well, I've got some more on my sheet, so we'll just keep going. Was there one written down, Father?
I would raise my hand.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't write it down, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Loud enough. line of, I did not expect this, and yet looking back, you're like, that was a pivotal moment. That was something like, it was a day or an evening or a, wow, that was out of the blue. But the result from that, it was so small, but it made such a difference. So something like that.
Two things hit my brain right away, and this is just me. I chose to stay home. We didn't even pray about it. It was in my heart to do. I wanted to stay home. And then I resented it. And then I felt guilty that I resented it because I knew there was more in me. I knew I had more potential than wiping butts and saying, don't do this, don't do that, constantly. And I had to come to grips with that one day in the kitchen. I had a breakdown, and I just broke down with the Lord. It was like, I just felt him say, Suzanne, this is not forever. But you've got to give yourself to this season and give yourself fully and be present, or you're going to resent it. That day is coming, that day that you know in your soul that there's more of you. But I had to give myself to where I was at. That really surprised me that I would feel that way. And the other thing is, and this is just as honest as I can be, I assumed that Jake saw and picked up on all the things that I did with kids and household stuff and all the things. He just didn't see, and it's not a bad thing, we're just different. Men really do have to be taught. I'm trying to say this and I'm not being patronizing. I'm really not. But he literally didn't see the things that I saw. They weren't obvious to him. And in the same way, there were things I didn't pick up on that he very much was like, your tone of voice this, and, you know, your smirk there, and that look here. I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't have the mirror in front of me. He was the mirror. But I had to help him without being like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you? It's like, no, can I show you, can I tell you what I'm thinking when we're doing dinner? I'm thinking I'd like for the dishes to be getting clean so that when we're done and we're all tired, everything's done. Can you help along the way? I had to kind of let him into my thought process so that now he I don't know if it's natural, but you just kind of know, but now he says things like, what can I do to help you right now? Most of the time I don't even need help. It's just that he asked. So I think teach them what you would like and how you would like it, but not patronizing, but just understanding they're not us. We're different.
Okay, I'm really sorry I didn't empty the diaper pail. Certain things I don't do. Okay, forgive me. No one knows what a diaper pail is here, do they?
Oh, wow. Real diapers.
Real diapers. But I did clean the oven, so there we go. I think what struck me just when you said something happened that really changed me was, and this is later in life after we went through the teenage years and went through all those battles, and the kids went to college, came back for a year between their jobs with their final careers, and they turned into real people. I'd come home and the lawn would be mowed.
Wow. Amen.
And I'm like, we had the best time with both of our kids that year. It was like, we could stop at a bar and have a beer. I mean, it was great. So it's great. It'll come around. There's light.
So good.
Okay. This is kind of a topic, so there's several questions within this question, so let me get through it so that I don't have to stop you to ask, like, and this, to tag onto it. But in regards to spiritual intimacy as a couple, and I feel like just from what you've shared with us so far this morning, we probably know the answer to this, but do you regularly discuss with each other what you're learning on your own personal spiritual journey? Do you pray or do any type of Bible study together? If it was awkward in the beginning, like think back to where we are in our stages, early childhood, marriage. Some of us do have older children and have been married for longer, but if it was awkward in the beginning for you to share that spiritual intimacy, how did you get past that? And what advice could you give us? Or if, for some of us here, the wives have husbands who maybe aren't saved or aren't at the same place spiritually, what can a wife do in that situation?
Those are great questions. So because my dad's a pastor, he was a strong leader and he was very wise and knew the Word of God and That's what I grew up with. We naturally assume a lot of times that our husbands are going to be a lot like what our dads. That's just a natural tendency. I assumed that Jake would be responsible for making me grow spiritually. I did not know that was an unrealistic expectation. So one of the faults that I had, and I was naive. I was a very young wife, but I made him responsible for my maturity and my growth. Meaning, you have to lead us in this, and you have to read us this thing, and you have to, and I probably didn't even communicate that. So it was unfair. One of the things that set me free, and it took a little bit of maturity in marriage, but I think it's important. Yes, it's important to do things together. But the most pivotal thing I learned was, when we get to heaven, it's not like Jake and I are going to hold hands and say, okay, the babies are here. It's me. It's me. So I am responsible for my relationship with the Lord. I'm responsible for my time with Him. I'm responsible for my own heart and that sacred, secret place with the Lord. Do I let Jake into that? Of course, out of the overflow of the heart,